Greetings and welcome to another Fate Grant Order video. So we've got a couple of things to talk about this time around, but the first is not going to be the upcoming event, but it's going to be this. Our free 4-star servant. So what do we get from this? Well, this is a part 2, I believe. Yeah, clears basically the prologue to receive a 4-star servant ticket selection, and we can pick any of the following servants that are all the way down on this list. So let's go quickly over all these servants and see which are worth your time and which are not. So Saber Alter is essentially just a standard miniature saber. She has a hard time filling out her Noble Phantasm and does not get a strengthening skill to let her fill it out. Gawain seems to be slightly better. Siegfried, I have never actually used him, but he's anti-dragon, so if you're fighting against giant dragons, he's okay. Deleon is a tank. Suzuka Gozen is actually pretty decent as an AoE saber. She can fill it up, she has ignore evasion, she has buster up, and I don't really remember what else she has, but she's pretty good. Nero, I'm not too fond of her, but I guess she's an arch saber, so there aren't that many of those around. Same thing with Yagyu Numenori down here on the second row. He can also deal pretty decent damage in an arch team. Rama, I'm not really sure of, I don't have him. Lancelot is actually a very powerful 4-star servant, especially for a saber, because he increases the damage dealt to the opponents by a percentage. So if you need more damage, he is definitely the way to go. He can deal massive criticals and fill out his Noble Phantasm in one turn if he gets lucky, and also has a instant MP fill charge of a pretty high percentage, so he's a very good servant. Tomor, I don't have her, and I haven't seen anyone put her on a friend list, so I haven't been able to try it out. Atlanta, she is a quick-based servant, and she can definitely fill out a team of quick servants. Her Noble Phantasm, when killing a 3-person wave, can definitely give you more than 50 critical stars, so that's her niche right there. And Mia, we already know. And Mia Alter, I believe, is one of the hardest hitting single-target archers in the game. I believe, at least with the proper gear and craftings and all that. That is from what I've read, if you put him on the right team. Tristan, I'm not really sure. I think he's a little bit of a do-it-all because he can grant everybody one attack evasion. He can fill out his Noble Phantasm, and I don't even remember what it does. But I don't think he stands out in anything. Ultra Lancer Alter, similar to Lancelot, can land some pretty big criticals with one skill, which makes her strong. But she doesn't generate a lot of critical stars, and her Noble Phantasm does steal skills, I believe, so that's pretty good. Vlad IV, if you're fighting against anything that is evil or is an archer, he can definitely hit very, very hard. Elizabeth is an excellent support lancer. She can grant females up to 40% attack up. And reduce the enemy's defense by 10 to 3% with her Noble Phantasm. She has guts to keep her alive. And I do not recall what else she has, but she's pretty good. Neza, she's another AoE servant. She also comes with an MP filling ability stuck to her guts, and she's okay. Unfortunately, her overcharge is only increased burn effect, so that doesn't make her particularly good, but she's an interesting servant. What is your name? I don't remember your name, but the blue hair Lancer girl right here, I believe she has the capability of refueling her Noble Phantasm with a triple arch heroic chain, I think. Not really sure. Fion right there, don't really know much about him, haven't even used him, he's still level 1. Medusa Lancer, pretty good single target Lancer, although I think she does have a bit of a difficult time filling it up her Noble Phantasm. She has a percentage chance stun and a percentage chance charm against males, so a lot of her budget went into that, so when it comes to dealing with males, she's okay. We'll get into that later. Then Li Shuwen is actually a good arch lancer, single target damage. He's up for, I think I remember reading he's one of the best in the game for that. So if you need a single target lancer, either him or Medusa will be fine. Oh yeah, Parvati, the blue haired girl, is called Parvati. I don't know if she's AoE or single target, but she'll be there. Astolfo is really just a collection servant, honestly. He is a QP farmer. He can almost instantly refund his entire MP bar after casting it, which is pretty good. But outside of that, his damage is kind of eh. And Bonnie and Mary Reed, they are very difficult to use because they rely on having low health to deal maximum damage. So they're not that useful, but they are single target riders, which is relatively rare. Marie Antoinette, she is a stall champion right there with 5 attacks, invincibility, and all that other good stuff with healing. Martha is actually a very niche servant here that has something very important, which is being able to clear all debuffs from the entire party, which can be very important in certain fights. I've actually used her specifically for that, and it's actually saved my butt. Her Noble Phantasm hits everybody, and I think reduces their defense, so it's kind of okay-ish. Now, Helena's, if you do not have either Waver or Merlin, she is an excellent choice. She grants everybody up to 20%, I think, Arts, Quick, and Buster performance. She can fill everybody's Noble Phantasm gauge by 20%. And she can increase the damage of her own Noble Phantasm by a significant amount with a certain amount of luck. Unfortunately, her long cooldowns make it so that she can't spam those skills, but as a support servant, she's not that bad. And her Bond level 10 Craft Essence increases the damage of the entire party by 15% while she's on the field and with it, so that's not too bad. Cersei, I'm not really sure of. She has a stun on her Noble Phantasm that turns something into a pig, although I'm not really sure what the requirements for the stun to work are, so I'm not really sure on her. Gilgamesh, as I recall, is a pretty good support caster, and with the Babylonia being celebrated here, he's actually pretty decent from what I remember. Edison, I have no idea on him, so I can't say much. Nursery Rhyme, she's okay. She unfortunately is not a support caster. She is a very selfish caster in that she wants everything for herself. Critical stars, critical damage up, no Phantasm charge, everything is for her. So in that sense, she's very like that. I'm not sure how hard she can hit because I haven't leveled any of her skills, but that's what she is. Nitocris has a lot of the budget on her Noble Phantasm wasted on instant death. If you saw my top 5 worst servants in the game, then you know what I think about instant death mechanics. Sheba there is okay so far. I do have her, I have maxed her out, except for her skills. She's okay, but nothing really stands out. Medea is over there, is full support, full healing, really not much to be said about her. I'm actually not sure if the event is going to come up where she really stood out, but yeah, if you're looking for healing and support for stall fights, she's your girl to go to. Then Mochizuki Chiyome, not really sure on her. She does have an AoE Noble Phantasm, which is pretty good for an assassin, but other than that, I'm not really sure on her. Emiya Assassin, I do know, is actually a very strong hitting single target assassin based on arts, so she could get along very well with Shooting Doji and Serenity. So in that sense, he's actually pretty strong, and I think he also has Ignore Invincibility or Evasion on his Noble Phantasm. So I think as a single target, he's pretty good. Carmilla just got some new animation updates, and unfortunately she doesn't do that much damage, but against females, especially female riders, she can definitely do the job. But she's one of the first servants in the game, so she's not that strong. Kato Udanzo is actually a very strong support assassin. She can grant anybody in your party evasion and invincibility, which is pretty strong. And I believe her Noble Phantasm also does extra damage to demonic enemies, which are pretty nice there. So as a supporty assassin, she's definitely not that bad. I do not know your name, good sir. I think I do know something, is that one of his skills cycles between 3 different buffs across 3 different turns, and in that sense he is unpredictable, which is I think his entire thing. I think the buffs he gets from that skill are actually pretty strong, but other than that, I don't really know much about him. Steno, unfortunately, yeah, there's really not much to say about her. She's pretty bad in the game, unfortunately. Her Noble Phantasm deals no damage and is based entirely on instant killing, which does not work on bosses, so yeah. Wu Zetian right there is actually a pretty decent quick servant. Well, a quick support assassin, so she's pretty good there. She can poison, she can lower defense, she can sometimes stun, I think. She can increase everybody's, I think, attack, so as a support assassin, not too bad. Then Ibaraki right there, a pretty decent single target berserker. Her Noble Phantasm removes buffs after it deals damage, much like others, so in that sense it's pretty good. She's got some defense sub buffs, some guts, and she has the skill that all other Oni have, which is increases attack for everybody and increases Noble Phantasm damage for her. So that's her. And then Penthesilea is actually an excellent berserker, another single target berserker. If you're fighting against anything from any Roman male, she will absolutely destroy them. She can buster up the entire party. And yeah, overall she's very, very solid. Tamamo Cat there, not really sure on her. Her ability to drain MP maxes out, I think, at around 70%. Her Noble Phantasm will stun her for 2 whole turns, the one she launches and the next one, but it can't heal her for a significant amount. But other than that, she's based on Quick, so not that useful. But we are getting a very strong Quick support caster in the upcoming few months, so hopefully. So yeah. Speaking of quick support servants, we also have Frank there. So Fran is slightly better than Tamamo Cat, although she stuns herself and puts a burn debuff on her, which really isn't that bad. But she can't hit particularly hard, especially with her Noble Phantasm. Unfortunately, she also has a tough time filling it out, so she needs help to launch it. Beowulf, I have no idea. I just pulled him, and I have no idea what to do with him because I haven't leveled him yet, so can't really say much about him. Now Heracles, if you don't have Heracles and you need an anchor, he is your to-go-to guy. Max out his attack and level, and he will do upwards of 70,000 damage on his own. He is an absolute monster, and if you get him to bond level 10, he will survive 4 entire turns on his own without much help, or even 5. Because his bond 10 craft essence give him 3 stacks of unremovable guts. Then he's got his own guts and then his 1-turn evasion. So yeah, he is an absolute monster when it comes to surviving and pulling through with the final point of the fight. Lancelot Berserker is actually somebody that on the last time we got a ticket, one of these tickets, a lot of people grabbed him because the servant I was talking about earlier, the quick support caster, is extremely strong in that she grants a very strong quick up to servant, and if you stack 2 of them up and Lancelot gets a strengthening quest, he can actually fully refund his Noble Phantasm on a heroic turn. So yeah, that's what makes him particularly strong. Although unfortunately, in my experience, he does not hit particularly hard, but hopefully the support servant that's coming along will help him out in that regard. Now Gorgon, she is the one I'm actually going to grab when it becomes available. She, outside of not having any Avengers on my list, between her and Hessian Lobo, I would go for her. Hers is an AoE Noble Phantasm, and I think Hessian Lobo is single target. Other than that, I don't remember much about what she does. I just know that I like the way she ended up at the end of the Babylon campaign. And Hessian Lobo, I think, has an Ignore Invincible, or maybe has a dodge. I'm not really sure. But anyway, yeah, so out of all these servants, which one would I recommend? Well, if you're in need of an AoE Saber, you could do a lot worse than Suzuka Gozen. If you need single target, you can either go... I would highly recommend Lancelot. When it comes to archers, most of us already have Emilia, so I would recommend Emilia Alter. Lancers, if you don't have a single Lancer, then you actually have multiple options, but I could definitely recommend Elizabeth as a support Lancer, or Parvati or Medusa or Li Shuwen as single target damage or damage in general. When it comes to riders, there isn't really anything particularly good there, unfortunately, so go for whoever you want. Now for casters, we actually do have a lot of choices here. Helene is a very solid support, as is Gilgamesh Caster. Everybody else has a couple of niche roles, especially Medea Lily. Then for assassins, I would have to say go for either Kato Danzo if you need support for your assassins, or Emilia Assassin if you want single target damage. For Berserkers, as I mentioned before, my number 1 choice is Heracles, or if you already have Heracles, I would recommend Penthesilea there. And for Avengers, it's definitely your choice between Gorgon and and Assassin of Shinjuku. Now, let's talk about the other thing that is coming along, and that is this, the Oni Pagoda Grand Festival. So yes. So during this campaign, basically all the Emperor and training grounds will be available, so this will be amazing. And let's see, so now this thing here has a very particular mechanic where your servants will get tired, as you can see. You cannot bring along a friend support, so good luck to everybody. And once a servant, let's see, when you clear 4, the servant who participate in the quest will become exhausted and cannot be included in your party. Servants will recover from the exhausted state with time, but you will be unable to clear further rooms with the same party. So basically, having a lot of servants is going to be extremely useful in helping you get through the event quickly, because I'm not sure if it requires energy or not, but basically throwing your strongest servants into one party will make them all exhausted, so it's not recommended. And considering you can't bring along friend servants, making sure your low-level servants are actually leveled up and have decent craft instances for everybody, it will be very important for this event. Eventually we unlock these hot springs where you can put 5 and it reduces the cooldown on the exhaustion from 4 hours to 2, but that's really all we have available there. Now let's take a look at the final boss of this monstrous pagoda climbing event, shall we? So if you go here, you will notice that we have 200 floors to climb, so yeah, fun. But the problem with that is not those floors, it is the final boss here. So as you can see, we're fighting against Kintoki here, and he will have permanent Pierce invulnerability. This means you cannot evade either, and you will always take his damage. So yeah, this seems like an absolutely monumental task, but well, yeah, look at this monstrous amount of HP right here. Let's not forget that we have a very particular 3-star archer that specializes in dealing with men, and that would be Steno. Now the strategy for this would probably... Oh yeah, and let's see, loading up a card. As an action for the turn, he can buff himself with MP damage up, ouch, and joins MP by 1. Gets, on the first break bar, he gets 3 turns of attack down, defense down, so use that turn to burn the second life bar. And also, Kandaski debuffs are removed and he gets a permanent defense down, so hopefully he takes massive damage. We'll buff himself with permanent invincibility and debuff himself with gain debuff every turn. So this is going to be a damage race and hopefully a massive debuff stacking competition essentially. So Steno will be able to drain him, stun him with their Noble Phantasm. And outside of that, we want even more stunts. So, and he is man and divine, so Tamama will be definitely useful there. Who else? What's this? What's your name? Skathak will also be very useful because he is also divine, so he should be able to hit him very, very hard. So yeah, as the final boss, he is definitely, and you get 5 million QP out of this. Ooh, yes. So yeah, if, by the way, what type of rewards we get from this? Let's see, so far, nothing that really stands out. 100 mana prisms, oh yeah, so basically doing this is definitely worth the time. Now let's see, challenge quest. Oh dear, so let's see, respawns a newbie player, grants herself, targets above and fight both on time, respawns experienced player. So basically you want to focus down to more goals in here. All party members will be debuff unremovable critical damage down, and one will be stunned. We can grant one enemy permanent unremovable target debuff, so it's a taunt. And you need to kill him eventually, so bring along AoE so you can keep dealing damage to Tomoe. Let's see, nothing on the first break bar, and grants yourself 5 hits of evasion. Okay, so on this one, we actually can use stall tactics, unlike on the final boss, which will hurt. And friend support can be used. Okay, so the double Gene and Arts Lancer will definitely bring the victory here, even if it is a little slow. But yeah, for an event, this is actually very interesting, but we're not done yet. The event craft essence, this thing is absolutely amazing for quick servants. So critical damage 10%, star generation 10%, and 3% start MP. And the damage goes up to 100 plus 100%. Wait, does this increase our, I think this means this increases our damage during the event, so this will be absolutely critical for dealing with Kintoki. That explains the extremely high HP. And I believe at max limit break, this will be critical damage 15, 15, and 50% MP charge. So that thing is absolutely amazing for servants like Jack, Ryder, Kintoki, or anybody that relies on criticals and quick cards to generate their Noble Phantasm. So absolutely amazing. And the floor quest rewards, so as you can see, we get quite a significant amount of stuff. You need to clear up to level 30 to get the first one, which will start making things a lot easier. And then let's see, anything that stands out: 1 summon ticket, 2 summon, 3 summon, 3 summon tickets, 2 crystallized lore. Oh, the meteor force, amazing. Yes, hopefully I can use this to finish off my #1 servant. And clear rewards in total: 10 St. Quartz, very nice. 1000 Mana Prism, so yes. A boatload of experience cards, absolutely amazing. So yeah, this event you absolutely want to participate in as much as possible. So do your best to proceed through the floors and clear all the way to the top as much as you can. So hopefully you found this relatively entertaining and useful, and we will see you next time.